4:17 a.m. local time, Northern Gulf. The sea is calm in that uniquely unsettling way only a calm sea can be. Flat, mirror-like, and misleading. Inside the carrier strike group, everything feels routine. Sensors are active, watch teams are steady, and no one expects the situation to shift this quickly. Then the radar picture changes. In the Combat Information Center, a single contact appears at the far edge of the screen. Clean return, high speed, unscheduled. The watch officer leans in, not alarmed yet, just focused. One isolated contact means very little. 7 seconds later, a second return lights up. Different bearing, different profile. That changes the mood. The system does not announce danger or add drama. It simply does what it was built to do. Correlate, compare, and question. These two tracks do not match civilian traffic. They do not match weather. They do not even match each other. At 4:17 and 20 seconds, a third contact appears. Then a fourth. The room tightens. Not with panic, but with recognition. This is how real escalation begins. Not with noise, but with pattern. On the main display, the first thermal flare ignites along the northern coastline. Bright, sharp, and moving too fast to be mistaken for anything ordinary. The system auto-tags it before a human can speak. Launch event. Seconds later, another flare appears. Then another. Different points of origin. Staggered timing. No real effort to hide it. Now the display begins filling rapidly. Tracks stack. Vectors spread outward, then bend inward. The software stops treating them as anomalies and starts reading them as intent. Fixed launch positions are joined by mobile emitters. Sea-based signatures appear briefly, vanish, then return closer than before. This is no longer a question. 4:18. The watch officer speaks, voice clipped and controlled. Multiple launches detected. No one asks how many yet. The system is still sorting the picture. Across the CIC, consoles shift automatically. Passive sensors give way to active confirmation. Data links jump to full bandwidth. The escorts in the strike group tighten formation. Not in any dramatic way, but enough to redraw overlapping coverage zones. On the bridge, the captain watches the same feed. He does not speak right away. He waits for confirmation. Then he gives the order. Condition 3. Set and man all key stations. The words move through the ship with mechanical precision. Steel doors seal. Red lighting comes alive in critical spaces. Sailors pull on helmets and gloves, not hurried, not frantic, because haste creates mistakes. Below deck, launch cells hum as power levels rise. Safeties remain in place. Nothing has been committed yet. 4:18 and 40 seconds. The count stabilizes. 44 inbound tracks, not all alike, not all fast. Some climb high, trading altitude for speed. Others hold the middle layer, shaping timing. Several stay so low they vanish at intervals into sea clutter. This is saturation, not a probe, not a warning, a deliberate attempt to overload the system. Time to impact begins falling in steady steps. 9 minutes. Electronic warfare teams bring their receivers fully online. They listen first. They always listen first. Every waveform, every guidance signal is captured, logged, and timestamped. Nothing is transmitted yet. Across the formation, escorts make tiny adjustments. Fractions of a knot, slight heading changes, invisible to the naked eye, decisive in the geometry. Firing arcs are deconflicted. Overlap increases where the math predicts pressure. The carrier stays centered in the formation. No evasive turn, no sudden increase in speed. 8 minutes. One cluster shifts course slightly. A subtle correction. The system flags it immediately. Countermeasure behavior logged. A low track disappears completely, masked by the curve of the sea. Its last known vector remains on the display in ghosted white. No one relaxes. 7 minutes. The air wing remains locked to the deck. Pilots stand beside their aircraft, helmets on, hands still. No launch order is coming. Not yet. This phase will be decided before the jets matter. Inside the CIC, voices become shorter, not louder, shorter. Every call-out is exact. Bearing, speed, altitude. No commentary. The captain steps closer to the screen. 44 confirmed threat tracks continue closing. This is beyond routine defense, one officer says quietly. The captain gives a single nod. Confirmed. 6 minutes. The threat rings contract again. Some tracks accelerate, others slow down, deliberately falling out of sync. The system compensates, recalculating intercept windows in real time. No defensive action has been launched yet, but the strike group is no longer preparing. It is fully committed. 5 minutes to impact. The first tracks cross the engagement threshold. Defensive release is now only seconds away, and the incoming wave is still building. 5 minutes to impact. The tactical picture compresses as distance vanishes. What began as scattered vectors now narrows into defined corridors of threat. Each one is aimed not at where the ships are, but at where they will be seconds later. This is no longer tracking. This is prediction. Inside the Combat Information Center, the system shifts once more. Update rates climb, filters tighten. The display refreshes so quickly the human eye can barely keep up. Operators stop scanning the full picture and lock into assigned sectors, trusting the network to manage the rest. Then the first wave separates cleanly. High-altitude tracks surge ahead first. Fast, visible, impossible to ignore. They are clearly meant to draw attention early. Behind them, the mid-level profiles advance in disciplined spacing, timed to arrive just after the first defensive responses. Beneath both layers, the sea-skimming tracks disappear again, sinking into surface clutter where radar certainty weakens and doubt begins to grow. 4 main attack directions are now confirmed: northwest, west, southwest, and south. A full saturation pattern. 4 minutes, 30 seconds. One interceptor assignment flickers, then resets. For a moment, a single track miscorrelates and splits into 2 returns before collapsing back into 1. The system flags it automatically. No one says a word. These are not mistakes. This is friction. A low track drops out again. Still no intercept confirmation. Still no visible result. The ghost vector keeps moving. The watch officer marks it amber, unconfirmed. Possible masking. No one offers reassurance. Across the formation, the escorts make another series of microscopic adjustments. One destroyer adds half a knot. Another shifts slightly left. From the bridge, those changes would be impossible to notice, but on the tactical plot, they close a gap that was never supposed to be there. The carrier holds steady. 4 minutes. Electronic warfare teams begin selective emissions. Not broad interference, but short, precise pulses. Just enough to complicate guidance without exposing the full defensive signature. Receivers continue recording every reaction. Some incoming tracks respond. One mid-level contact wobbles, then stabilizes. Another remains perfectly steady, unaffected. The system records both responses immediately. Not every incoming weapon behaves the same. 3 minutes, 30 seconds. The first interceptors are fully armed now. Launch circuits are live. Engagement chains are built, rebuilt, refined again. Every inbound track has at least one planned intercept. Some have 2. A few in the most crowded approach lanes have only 1. That margin is narrow. One high-altitude track accelerates unexpectedly, pushing beyond the expected envelope. The intercept solution tightens. The timing window shrinks. 3 minutes. The first interceptor launches, then another. The display flashes as paths cross. One inbound track vanishes at once. Confirmed intercept. Seconds later, a second one is removed just as cleanly. But the system does not pause. It simply moves forward. Below, the mid-level wave continues pressing in, their spacing collapsing exactly as intended. 2 interceptors fire in quick succession. One reaches its target. The other misses by meters, cutting through debris without a confirmed result. The track remains. Miss, the operator says, voice flat. No one reacts. The system is already moving. A second interceptor is reassigned. Geometry changes. Time compresses. 2 minutes, 15 seconds. The sea skimmers appear again, closer now, faster than before. Their signatures are faint, their altitude almost non-existent. One slips past the outer intercept window entirely. Inside the CIC, posture changes. Voices grow even shorter. Callouts begin to overlap, but never collide. The captain watches the display without speaking. 2 minutes. The reassigned interceptor catches the previously missed mid-level track. Confirmed intercept. The system absorbs the earlier miss and keeps advancing, but the low flyer is still there. It is inside the inner ring now. 90 seconds. Fire control systems narrow their focus. The next defensive layer comes alive. Sensors tighten their field of view. Reaction times fall to fractions of a second. There is no room left for correction. The sea skimmer shifts course slightly, just enough to force a recalculation. The recalculation completes. 60 seconds. Another cluster compresses unexpectedly from the southwest. Their timing is tighter than predicted. They are trying to arrive together. The system answers by redistributing the load. 2 ships take the primary response. A third supports them silently. Intercept windows overlapping. Interceptors leap outward. One confirmed intercept, then another. But one incoming track survives the exchange. It drops even lower. 40 seconds. The carrier does not turn. 30. The final defensive layer is now fully engaged, balanced on the edge of action. No order is spoken. None is necessary. The incoming track crosses the last threshold. The system reacts instantly. The result is not visible yet, and the pressure does not ease because the wave is still closing. 40 seconds. The tactical display narrows to a single priority. One low-altitude track remains, riding the surface so tightly it barely registers as a shape at all, more absence than presence. It is inside the inner ring now, where margins are measured in heartbeats. The system assigns it automatically. No announcement, no pause. Close-range sensors narrow their view. Fire control solutions lock in. The final defensive layer holds, tuned for speed rather than range. The sea skimming track makes one last adjustment, small but intentional, dropping even lower and forcing the calculations to follow. The system catches up in time. The intercept comes late, later than anyone would like. What follows is brief and violent. The incoming track does not vanish cleanly. It breaks apart into multiple returns that scatter across the surface. The blast is low and close, heavy enough to be felt through the ship's steel hull. Not a direct strike, but far too close for comfort. On one of the escorts, the pressure wave rolls across the deck. Antennas bend. A topside sensor goes dark. Loose gear slams against its restraints. Forward on the ship, a sailor loses balance and hits the deck hard. The ship absorbs it. Inside the CIC, no one looks away from the screens. The system marks the event immediately. Near intercept, secondary effects. Damage control teams are already moving. Not running, not shouting, just moving with purpose. The display updates. No new inbound tracks, but the pressure still does not lift. Another group closes in from the southwest, its timing tighter than the one before. 2 interceptors launch. One connects. The second goes off close enough to scatter fragments across the water. A piece skips off the surface and disappears. The group comes apart. Confirmed intercepts begin to cascade across the display, one after another. The numbers fall quickly now. 44 becomes 30. 30 becomes 12. 12 becomes 3. Each one disappears in its own way. The high-altitude threats drop out cleanly, far from the formation. The mid-level profiles break apart in sharp flashes. The last of the sea skimmers are erased so close to the surface that the water itself seems to swallow the result. 10 seconds pass. Nothing new appears. Inside, the CIC operators sweep again and again. Long-range radar, short-range radar, passive sensors, infrared. The sky is clear, but the room does not relax. Confirm damage status, the captain orders. The reply comes back in pieces. Minor topside damage on 1 escort, 1 sensor degraded, 2 personnel with minor injuries. No fires, no flooding. The wording matters. Minor, degraded. Injuries, not losses. Every distinction is exact. The clock reads 4:26 local time, 9 minutes since the first intercept. Across the formation, the defensive posture remains fully in place. Systems stay active, weapons remain ready. The ships hold their shape as though a second wave could still appear. None does. The carrier continues forward, wake unchanged, speed constant. On the damaged escort, repair teams secure the area. A bent railing is cut away, a shattered sensor housing is covered. The injured sailors are taken below, awake, alert, already talking. The blast did not stop the ship. It did not even slow it. That is what matters. Inside the CIC, the tactical display finally begins to clear for real. Confirmed intercept markers replace threat symbols. The system stops reallocating fire because there is nothing left to assign. All inbound tracks terminated, the watch officer reports. The captain gives a single nod. He does not speak right away. He waits through one more sweep. Still nothing. The engagement ends not with a sound, but with silence. The strike group remains intact. 1 ship carries a scar, 2 sailors carry bruises, the formation keeps moving. This was not flawless defense, it was enough. Outside, the sea looks unchanged. No smoke hanging in the air, no visible debris, just open water and the steady motion of steel cutting through it. Inside the ships, everyone understands the difference. An attempt was made to overwhelm the system. It did not fail. It flexed, absorbed the pressure, adapted, and held. The incoming wave ended. The strike group never stopped moving. And for the first time since 0417, the countdown clocks go dark. The transition out of engagement is controlled, almost measured. Systems do not stand down all at once. They step back layer by layer, mirroring the way they came online. Fire control shifts from automatic to guarded. Sensors widen their search again, looking far beyond the immediate threat zone. Nothing is assumed. Nothing is rushed. Inside the Combat Information Center, the sound of the room changes. Not louder, not quieter, just different. Fewer alerts, fewer callouts, more space between words. Someone exhales. It is not a signal and no one acknowledges it, but everyone hears it. The captain remains focused on the display, eyes moving across the clearing tactical picture. He lets the room settle before speaking. Accountability. The response comes ship by ship, clean, direct, without ceremony. All stations manned, damage contained, 2 injured, minor, no loss of combat capability. Each report lands with weight. Each one matters. On the affected escort, the damage section is secured. A twisted antenna mast is already taped off. A damaged sensor housing is covered in gray canvas, marked for replacement later. Damage control teams move with the calm efficiency of people who have done this before. There is no rush now, only procedure. The ship remains fully mission capable, and that is what matters most. Below deck, the 2 injured sailors sit on metal benches with their helmets off. One slowly rolls his shoulder, testing the stiffness. The other holds an ice pack against a bruised forearm. They speak quietly. Not about the launch, not about the incoming track, but about how close it felt. Close enough. A corpsman checks their vitals, gives a small nod, and records the update. No grand speeches, no dramatics, just the quiet confirmation that both sailors will likely be back on watch soon. Up on the flight deck, pilots finally ease out of their launch posture. Helmets come off, gloves are loosened. One aviator leaves a hand on the intake of his aircraft a little longer than necessary, feeling the last vibration fade beneath his palm. No one celebrates. For a brief second, someone almost smiles, then thinks better of it. Inside the CIC, one operator rubs his eyes and leans back for the first time in several minutes. Another reaches for a bottle of water, realizes it is empty, and sets it aside without a word. The adrenaline has not faded yet. It will take time. This is the part that rarely makes it into official summaries. Not fear, not relief, something quieter than both. A controlled release of tension. The captain breaks the silence again. Maintain heightened watch. No one needs that explained. Heightened watch does not mean alarm. It means staying sharp without letting tension take over. Systems remain ready. Crews remain focused. The difference now is simple. The immediate danger has passed, but the responsibility has not. Across the formation, the posture stays disciplined. Escorts hold their positions. Sensors remain active. No one slips back into routine too soon, because experience teaches one lesson better than any briefing ever could. The most dangerous mistake is assuming the hardest part is already behind you. Minutes pass. 5, 10. Nothing changes. The sea remains calm. Distant traffic continues on, unaware of how close disruption had come. The carrier strike group moves through it all looking almost untouched. Inside the ships, the human cost is light, but not meaningless. Bruises will fade, equipment will be replaced. The memory of how near it came will last longer than either one. At last, the captain steps back from the display. He does not address the room. He does not have to. The message has already been delivered through posture, discipline, and continuity. This was not flawless defense. It was human defense. Imperfect, adaptive, steady under pressure. The sailors understand that better than anyone. They return to their stations. Watches rotate. Coffee quietly appears in places where it was not a moment earlier. A hand taps a console twice before moving on. A private acknowledgement that the tension has passed. The engagement is over, not because the system worked on its own, but because the people inside it stayed steady long enough for it to work. And that is what moves forward with the strike group as it continues deeper into the Gulf. The event does not truly end when the last track disappears. Inside the formation, it simply changes shape. The after-action phase begins at once and almost silently. Systems that were pushed to their limits do not shut down. They recalibrate. Power levels return in stages. Sensors widen their sweep, then narrow again, searching not for what just happened, but for what could come next. This is not recovery. It is repositioning. On the tactical plots, the formation begins to shift in subtle ways. Escorts widen and then tighten their spacing in new patterns. Overlapping coverage moves forward. Blind angles are reduced. The geometry of defense is rewritten based on what has just been learned. No one announces the change, but everyone feels it. Intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance assets are pushed farther forward. Air patrols extend their reach. Subsurface elements adjust depth and position, slipping into quieter water where they can listen longer and observe farther. From the outside, none of this looks dramatic. From the inside, every move is deliberate. The captain calls a brief command exchange. It is short, precise, and entirely technical. No speeches, no guesswork, only facts. One escort sustained minor damage. 2 sailors were injured and returned to duty. 1 sensor was degraded and compensated for. All mission objectives remain intact. Then comes the key line. Assume follow-on activity. The order does not raise anyone's voice. It sharpens everyone's focus. It sharpens everyone. Operating protocols are reviewed, not rewritten. Thresholds are clarified. Response timelines become tighter, more precise, more disciplined, not expanded, not intensified, simply refined. The strike group will not be caught off guard a second time. That is the real change. The carrier continues ahead without altering speed or course. But around her, the posture has shifted. Defensive layers now sit slightly farther out. Reaction windows are shorter. The system is more alert. Not louder, not more visible, just quicker to decide. This is how control is maintained at sea. Not through dramatic pursuit, not through immediate reaction, but by making the next attempt far more difficult than the last. Somewhere beyond the horizon, sensors detect distant movement. Nothing openly threatening yet. Nothing that crosses a clear boundary. It is logged and observed, not challenged, because the message has already been sent. the strike group absorbed a coordinated saturation event. It took a close effect. It remained intact. It stayed on task. And then it adapted. That adjustment is not theater. It is endurance. There is no statement being drafted on board, no symbolic gesture, no visible shift in behavior that could be misread. To the outside world, this still looks like a routine transit. That too is deliberate. In modern naval operations, control is not usually announced. It is shown quietly, consistently, until it no longer needs explanation. Inside the CIC, analysts begin assembling the full timeline of the engagement. Flight profiles, guidance behavior, decoy performance, intercept timing, near-pass geometry. Every detail is preserved. That information will travel farther than any launch ever could. It will shape training, influence future deployments, and quietly affect how the next encounter is handled. The sailors understand this, even if they never read the complete analysis. They felt the pressure themselves. They know exactly where the margins narrowed. They know what held. That knowledge stays with them. As watches rotate, the strike group settles into a new rhythm. Not relaxed, not tense, ready in a deeper, quieter way. The Gulf opens ahead. Shipping lanes cross, traffic thickens. The carrier and her escorts move through it all without ceremony, almost indistinguishable from routine to anyone not paying close attention. But beneath that calm surface, the posture is different now. Sharper, faster, less tolerant of mistakes. The event did not force a withdrawal. It forced an evolution. And often, that is the outcome that matters most. The incoming wave ended. The strike group answered not with spectacle, but with position, readiness, and control. And as it continues deeper into the Gulf, the message is no longer about what was stopped. It is about what will not be allowed to happen next.